Hello again, everyone. So in last week's course materials of the resources, I mentioned, and I have actually given you a link for the book that I had mentioned called Every Word Has Power. And I really strongly encourage that you understand the concept behind this. You don't have to get the book. So in understanding the concept, I'm going to repeat something that I've kind of touched on earlier in this course. And this is the power of words. So when we think about how we speak in medical system for sure, and I'm going to say in society in general, we have a tendency to talk about what's not right. So how often have you heard, I'm exhausted at work, at home, anywhere? People say this all the time, and we all know what it means. And oftentimes, if you're the person right beside, you might say, I'm exhausted too. Yeah, I didn't even think about it, but now I am. I'm kind of tired. So those are the things that we say, and it's common conversation. If it's not conversation, then you're at least hearing this regularly. It's not so common to hear someone saying, I feel so less than energized. And I encourage my clients to do this. It takes a little bit of practice because first time you say it, you won't recognize yourself even saying it. But of course, even the people around you will say, well, that's kind of an unusual idea. Are you saying that you're tired? And you would say, yes, I am less than energized. You're remembering that the words matter. And I want to tell you the background detail behind this. So again, remember, my first degree is neuropsychology. So I like thinking about the brain and I love words. So I want to make sure that you know that when we use words, the most primitive part of our brain actually has been picking words up since infancy. So in that time, we actually do recognize things like exhausted. We do recognize things like anger or grief. We understand what those words mean. We understand happiness and joy, and we understand ease. We understand all of these words way before we have language capabilities. So when we think about this, when someone is saying a word like exhausted, it hits that memory in the back of our minds. It's our most primitive memory, and we remember the feeling associated with the word. Isn't that interesting? So imagine, even if you are not exhausted and someone is using that word around you, you'll think about it and it's in your head. Now, I have a tendency now that when I hear words that are not so positive, I try to still correct it for my own mind to think of the more positive direction. So you can get into this habit of recognizing, again, with clients or friends or family, that we are working on building your happiness. And that's what we're working with. It really is. It's, again, in terms of knowing what's not right, it's good to originally have an awareness that, okay, there's a grief picture here, there's sadness here, then focus on the solution. So words matter. So no matter what you say, you can put it into a more positive direction. I don't feel like eating this food. I really don't like this food, right? It's a different tone, it's a different energy, but let's say we change the actual words. I hate this food. I really don't like this food. So a different way of saying it. I really don't like this food is a little bit more aware of how little you like that food. And that could be about any activity. And just remember that the back of your mind is remembering like. It's remembering like, it's remembering food. So keywords, it's not listening to filler words. I hate this experience that I'm having. I really don't like this experience that I'm having. I loathe this. Let's say someone says that, because really, there's a lot of people who do use very expressive language and things that they do not like. And they think they're really good about it. And it is a wonderful talent to be able to use the appropriate language for how you're really feeling. It really is. But I would say that the benefits of using positive language, even for not so positive experiences, will thrill you when you start seeing the benefits of it in your life and the life of others. So rather than loathe, I really don't like this. This really doesn't make me happy. This makes me feel not so good. This really doesn't make me feel good. So all of those sorts of ways. And again, you're going to think of creative ways. You've got a whole list of positive words for emotions. And you can start utilizing these things in how you communicate. Now, you don't have to use fancy words, right? The mind does remember the simple words. It does remember good and not so good. It does remember bad, of course, which I don't like to say so much. Not so good, right? But it's going to focus on good. When I say something is not so good, it's going to focus on good, even though my conscious awareness is quite aware that it's not so good and I could have easily used the word bad. So get into this habit. You'll have to trust me on this one, or I hope you trust me on this one. You can give it a try it for a week even. One of the things that you might want to notice is how often are you using not so positive language regularly. I think a lot of people fall into this pattern and habit habitually just because it's how we've grown up, it's how society accepts things. It's not shaking things up, and I'm all about shaking things up in a positive way. I hope after this course you are too, and I hope you have fun with words. Have a great day, and I'll see you in our next session.